welcome to the realms of Faye. This is my channel and you're here with me, Faye, and I'm going to be talking to you today about what's happening for the month of February, and then we're going to be having a little discussion about some of the planetary alignments and the new moon and the full moon for this month, and kind of what that might look like for you as a collective, and also giving you some ideas of how to check that out for you for an individual, looking at your own birth chart. So hasn't it been a full-on month since the last time we spoke? January has just flown by, hasn't it? And it's been absolutely jam-packed with drama and things going on in the news and in the wider big outdoors, you know, out there scenario. Obviously we've had a lot of planetary alignments and shifts going on that have, you know, created some atmospheric problems with regard to Taurus, you know, and Uranus being in Taurus, having that energy going on that's been a bit combustive, and we've had some, you know, some earthquakes and things like that that have been going on, which has been absolutely devastating for people that are living in countries that are having to be evacuated. And then we've had all of the Mars energy that's created a lot of these fires in America. We've also had the inauguration, and we've had all of what's been going on with Trump in the spotlight. So, you know, everything is kind of started to happen, really, hasn't it? It's given us a little inkling of what's to come for the foreseeable, really, you know. And that's that the energy of Pluto moving into Aquarius that we've spoke about in our last couple of videos, and I'm sure if you're following any of the really, you know, phenomenal astrologers out there, as I've mentioned before on here, like Steve Judd, Heather Ensworth, Pam Gregory, all of these kind of people that are really got their finger on the pulse of the astrological transits and you know, turnaround in that capacity. You'll get so much more information on that side of things, and how you can kind of look for that in your own birth chart to see how that affects you personally. For me, you know, I've had a lot of this energy going around in my kind of 6th house and 5th house, which kind of is your children and your everyday life. And so I've had a lot of comings and goings in my home, and another reason why I'm a little bit late posting today, because I've just had so much going on. I've actually got quite a full house at the moment. I've got both my children living at home with their partners and their children, and I've got a house full of people, and trying to video is just almost an impossibility at the moment. Trying to get a little bit of quiet time where I can sit down for me and just do a little bit of what I love doing, which is doing these videos for you guys and being able to express some of my spirituality through these videos. It's been really hard, and I don't know if any of you have also felt this last month, that you've just been so exhausted and tired. And I know I'm hearing from lots of people, you know, on my Facebook posts and sites and things like that, and my other social media platforms, of everyone just being so drained and exhausted. And I think that really is that Neptunian energy that we've got at the crisis degree at the moment, which is the 29th degree of Pisces, and that happens to sit in my first house of physical body. So I'm really feeling it at the moment, and Neptune's been in my first house for a number of years now, about 14 years. So I've really been feeling it with my health over the last few years, with toxicity build up, problems with the waters of my body, you know, like my blood. I've been anemic really badly over the last few years, where I've been hospitalized for it. And I've had lots of urinary tract infections, lots of problems in that capacity, lymphatic issues. So, you know, Neptune's really been playing its cards, you know, for me on the more detrimental sort of facet of it at the moment, where it's at the end part of my sign coming out there. And I've also got Saturn about to transit my sun, and I've also got my Chiron return this year as well. So I've got such a lot of stuff astrologically hitting me. And I've also had Pluto hit my ascendant, which was part of last year, and obviously this year it's moved into the 1st degree of my first house in Aquarius. So wow, there's been some real stuff going on for me health-wise, and I don't know if any of you have also experienced this, if you've got any really big transits going on astrologically at the moment, how they're really impacting you on a physical level. And I've just had such massive brain fog this last couple of weeks. I've just been so drained. Having time and mental clarity to be able to come on here, and the space in my home to actually come on here and be able to do something, it's just been you know, just a no-go. So I apologize for the delay in getting my February video out for you. But I promise I'll try and get a bit better at all of this time stuff and getting things organised. But like I say, I'm learning this along with you as well. This isn't my strong point, being on social media and being in the limelight. I'm not really one of these people. I'm actually quite an introvert. Although people that know me in my friendship groups probably think I'm a bit more of an extrovert, I actually love spending a lot of time on my own. I actually like being in my own world, in my head in a book, and kind of studying and revising and doing, you know, really kind of nitty-gritty delving into the depths of my consciousness. And, you know, consciousness is really where my passion is, and astrology as well is really where my passion is, and I'm just continuously learning with that, and obviously trying to share some of that on here with you as well. And that kind of in my 9th house, I have Scorpionic North Node, and I also have Uranus in my 9th house. So obviously that shows my kind of passion of astrology and further learning and further education. So yeah, January's been jam-packed. You know, Mars has really done its thing where it's been positioned in Cancer and in retrograde, and, you know, so it's been such a lot closer to the Earth over these last few months. It's been an extended time in the sign of Cancer and Leo, so it's really kind of putting its, you know, its mark down on us, and where, you know, kind of almost branding us with its essence of what's in store for us through the majority of 2025. We've really had a good taster of that with Pluto being in Aquarius, and obviously having all of these, you know, new rules and shifts that have been happening in America, and all of these new things that Trump's initiated, and, you know, it's going to be a really jam-packed year. And, you know, this year is not going to be for the full-hearted. It's going to be a hard year of change and transformation, and I think we all need to just really spend a lot of time trying to get ourselves in a position where we're not too, you know, affected by what's going on in the out there and the external world, because it's going to be hard enough managing our own personal lives, I think, throughout these next few months, especially through March, where it really heats up. We've got our stellium of planets. Already some of them are being visibly seen astronomically out there. If you're looking on the telescope, you'll be able to see some of the planets that are aligning for this, you know, big astrological lineup, which will be seen and felt more towards the end of March. So that's going to really impact me, because that's going to hit my sun, my natal, my natal sun. It's going to hit a few other planets, my Chiron, and a few other things, all going through the last point. And obviously I've got my Neptune right at the end, the 29th degree there as well. So it's going to really affect me, and I'm sure it will affect a lot of you as well in different ways. I think what's happening right now, where we've had that initial movement now of Pluto saying hello and making its presence known, because we had obviously the Sun conjunct, didn't we? Pluto as we had that coming about at the beginning of the month. So it's kind of showing us, you know, hello, I'm here, I'm making my presence known. Pluto's really making his presence or her presence known right now, and showing us what they have in store, you know, what the energy of that planet has in store for us. And as I know it's only a dwarf planet, but, you know, my experience of Pluto in my birth chart, I have an 8th house Pluto in Libra, you know, and I've had a lot of transformative relationships in my life that have made huge impacts on me. And I think that depending on where Pluto sits within your natal chart is going to really affect you. Like I say, I've had Pluto transit in my ascendant from, you know, for a few years now, and it's been really life-changing. When Pluto first entered that energetic space for me, sadly I lost my dad, so, you know, that was in 2023, and I kind of had predicted that was going to happen, you know, a year or so beforehand. I knew that was going to affect me in that way, and, you know, it's not nice to be able to see that in your own chart, but sometimes, you know, it does give you the heads up of, you know, having an understanding of what's coming for you, and, you know, and Pluto isn't just all about death either. You know, I've also had my grandchildren arrive in the last few years of, you know, again, Pluto was coming through my 12th house and hovering over my ascendant for a number of years. So, you know, I had the birth of my beautiful grandchildren, you know, and I've had lots of births in the family, and I've had a few passings within the family, and also some transformations that have happened within my life, and, you know, transformative episodes. So wherever Pluto is going to be, you know, really blossoming in your birth chart for the next 20 years, is where you're really going to feel it. So, you know, if it's in your first house, then you're going to feel it in your person, in yourself, perhaps in your body, your appearance, your personality, how you interact with the world, that kind of thing. If it's in your second house, you might feel it in your finances, in your skills, your self-worth, your assets, your values. If it's in your third house, maybe within your siblings, your neighborhoods, short distance environments, and also your immediate environment, your thoughts, your behaviors, how you communicate with others. If it's going to be going through your fourth house, it's going to really affect your home life, your family, your roots, perhaps your parents, unforeseen circumstances that occur in your physical life. If it's in your fifth house, it's going to affect your children, your leisure, your compassion, your passions and your interests and your hobbies, your relationships, your love affairs. If it's in your sixth house, it's going to affect your everyday life, your small pets. And sadly for me, because I have it on my ascendant, Pluto has been in opposition with my sixth house, and sadly I lost my little baby dog Poppy, my little miniature Dachshund, at the beginning of January, which, you know, was really unexpected and really a real shock. So obviously that's affecting my everyday life. Also the sixth house affects your health and, you know, your work routines and your everyday routines, really. Your seventh house is your friendships, your partnerships, your deep meaningful relationships, your love relationships, your committed relationships, your business partnerships. Your eighth house is your deep connected relationships, inheritances, investments, tax. Your eighth house also affects the occult, sex, shared money. It affects your as well your kind of deep meaningful relationships, endings sometimes. And then your ninth house is going to be your higher education, philosophy, your religious beliefs, your philosophies, your worldview, how you see the world, that kind of thing. Your learning, your education, perhaps justice, because obviously Jupiter is in that house as well. And then obviously your 10th house is your work house, so that's also going to be people in authority for you, social status, maybe your career as well. Your 11th house is going to be your social networks, your hopes, dreams, aspirations. Your 11th house, your 12th house is going to be your collective unconscious, your spiritual life, your enemies, your karmic stuff, your spirituality, transcendence, suffering, hospitalizations. And I know at the moment my son has been having a Pluto transit, has entered his 12th house, and he was traveling and doing a lot of like spiritual stuff for himself in Thailand over from October, but sadly had to come home because he was so unwell, and has had a lot of time in hospital since. You know, he's had various different things with his heart and blood clot and all sorts of things. So Pluto has a real impact on you when it is transiting a particular area of your life, and at the moment we are experiencing that collectively but also individually. And I work on a very individual level with people. When I do my readings, I'm very much working with people on a one-to-one, and I look at their birth chart almost as a tarot card, really, and kind of see what transits are occurring and how that affects them. And I also use the cards as well to do that. And I think for the month of February already, you know, we had in bulk, didn't we, at the beginning, which is like the entrance to fertility for, you know, the beginning, almost like the introduction of springtime, if you like, and that was on the 1st of February. And then we very obviously we all just before that we had the new moon in Aquarius, didn't we, as well, just before in bulk. So that's kind of introducing us into the beginning of springtime, and in, you know, the end of winter, the beginning of springtime, and that will have had an effect on all of us in some way, shape or form, as well as kind of setting new intentions, and also really introducing Pluto into our lives for where it's going to really sit very comfortably and make itself at home for the next 20 years, you know. And we've seen some really devastating examples of Pluto's energy of late, haven't we, with a lot of the deaths that have happened and a lot of the secrets that are being, because also Pluto rules, you know, the occult, and deep secrets. It's scorpionic in its energy as well, and very Mars energy. So it's about really pulling out the roots of things and showing things for what they really are. And we've definitely seen a lot of that in social media and along the news channels, although, you know, very corrupt news channels. They are starting to show us some of the truths that are out there. So we are seeing a lot of stuff to do with big pharma again, which is that Neptune energy that we know, because Pluto's squaring Neptune at the moment. So we're going to see a lot of that still unfolding through the month of February. We're going to still see a lot of, secrets coming to light about the pharmaceutical industries, the medicines, even medical supplements. We're going to see a real huge transformation through February of lots of things to do with big pharma and medicines. And also we've had the North Node that moved into the Pisces Virgo axis, which is the health axis. So there's gonna be a real emphasis on transformative energy to do with healthcare, medical. And again, we've seen all of these new vaccines that have come up, haven't we, about cancer cures and things like that, obviously using our discernment of how we move forward with that. But we're seeing that Pluto in Aquarius energy is really showing itself to us in the collective of what we have in store. And I think that as we've moved from earth and air signs into fire and air, earth and water signs, into fire and air, and as we continue to do so, we've got a few more outer planets that are going to be moving into fire and air signs, which will really speed up the trajectory and the timeline that we go through. 2025 will literally go by in a blast. It will literally fly by. But I do feel like the energy is getting very volatile, and I'm sure that many of you are feeling it collectively, as are a lot of us sensitives. We're really feeling that there's just something really big about to happen, and I really do believe that we're on the precipice of that. We're kind of at the minute, how I see the energy for February at the moment is we're really in that kind of labouring phase, and we're kind of in the birthing phase at the moment, like the head's stuck in the birth canal. We're really there, we're pushing, and I feel like February is going to be, active labour. We're actively birthing the new earth. We're actually actively birthing what we're going to start to see over the next few years. And so it's going to be because birth isn't pleasant, is it? It doesn't just slide out, does it? Let's be honest. It can be very, very long, drawn out, exhausting, and pretty gruesome sometimes, and a bit gory. And it's not it's a wonderful thing to behold. It's a wonderful gift that is to be foreseen when we see a baby come into the world. And like that, at the moment, this energy that we're pushing forward, we're going to be having the magnificence of what happened, but we're also going to have to go through the pain of the birth. And we're all going to be experiencing that collectively and individually in our lives. And I think right up until probably April time is when we'll really start to perhaps be able to look at the baby and see what we have, and see where we're going with things. I think up until that point we're going to really still be in this labour phase where we're pushing out what we want to create. So I think what I'm getting at is, as well at the moment, is that our thoughts, our intentions are so powerful and potent right now. If we give up in the middle of labour, then the baby's just going to suck back up into the birth canal, isn't it? And I think, God forbid that we do that collectively with what we're trying to birth. It means that nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to, have creation. So we really need to be mindful of our mindsets at the moment, and our intentions and our words and our actions, and how we are wanting to be seen and showing up in the world, and how we're wanting to project ourselves, and what we're wanting to create and manifest in our 3D reality. Because I know as well, I follow a guy called, I think it's Pat Donworth, who talks a lot about the X flares and the M flares and all of the kind of the Earth's frequency changes and the Schumann resonance. And we've had a lot of activity, a lot of volatile activity of late, which is showing that, again, this magnetic field that we're living in, this magnetic vibrational frequency that we're all connected to and we all live in, is shifting massively. And I think we're all feeling that energetically. And again, I do wonder whether that has some indication into what's going on with the aviation industry as well. We also have, Uranus in Taurus at the moment, which is getting ready to start, it's going to begin to start moving out of Taurus. I think it'll be out of Taurus in July and move into Gemini. And I think we're seeing that real, volatility there with regard to the frequency. Uranus rules, energy. It rules lightning. It rules the sky. It's the sky god. It rules all of the energy to do with aviation, the sky, and new innovations and all of those kind of things. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that energy taking place as well. So we just need to be really mindful that what we're putting out there in our mindset and our actions is what we're wanting to kind of create to live in. So I think an overhaul is needed, a spring clean is needed of our thought processes, our social media channels, what we're absorbing into our lives, not just on a physical level and a level what we're putting into our bodies, but also consciously what we're feeding ourselves, what we're putting out there for other people to feast on. We need to be really mindful of how we are affecting the collective change, and being accountable for it, really. I think that's the message for February is going into that spring clean mode of really looking at yourself, being very reflective, being the observer, looking at how you're living your life. I know I'm definitely doing that. I'm spending a lot of time doing that at the moment. We've got a full moon coming up on the 12th, haven't we? So we've just had the new moon in Aquarius, and now we're going into a full moon in Leo, and that'll be at 23 degrees of Leo, I think it is, which is pretty much, well, 24 degrees, which is conjunct my natal moon in my 7th house. So I'm going to really feel that within the relationship sector of my life. And again, Leo is the energy of sovereignty. It's the energy of loyalty, love, abundance, standing in the spotlight. It's that regal energy, isn't it, Leo? And I think we're needing to be really mindful of the position we take in the world and how that affects other people. And so with this new moon in Leo, we may see something going on with the royal family and the heads, the people in power and in position, especially because Leo rules the kind of royal line as well. So we may see something coming up with Prince Charles potentially. There may be some health issues coming up there for him, or to do with the throne, the crown, and maybe someone else taking leadership potentially of that environment. So we may well see that coming up in the month of February. I think the astrology is showing us that, and I psychically I feel that also. So that we have coming up in February. We then have and again, just to be sure with that as well, we're Leo also, the energy of Leo the lion, it's rules the 5th house generally, so that's of creative projects and self-expression and fortune and leisure. So that's also going to have an effect on the of what we're seeing in this new moon. So this is a good time to start new projects, connect with our children, put clarification on and letting go of things. So it's quite apt for me, isn't it? Because I'm kind of letting, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my children, one of my children is potentially going to be emigrating to Australia. So I'm perhaps going to be having to come to terms with some of that loss and allowing those endings to take place when my new moon, my full moon is aspected. My actual natal moon is aspected by the full moon in Leo. So yeah, that's going to be significant, isn't it, for me, and probably for you in different ways as well. So so this is going to be a good time to start getting yourself stuck into things that you're needing to do with regard to hobbies and interests and passions and children, building relationships or letting go of relationships that are no longer serving you, love affairs that are not kind of panning out. It'd be a good time to put an end to those, and really just looking at your boundaries and your emotions, and just being mindful that obviously Mars is hovering around still within the vicinity as well, so that's going to be having an impact. So just being a bit mindful of how we express ourselves to others, and especially to our children and our relationships with our children. I think that would be quite wise counsel for you all at this time. Then we go into, I'm just checking my list here of things to remind myself of what I need to say to you, because my brain with my fibromyalgia, I can think of something and it's gone like a goldfish about 5 seconds later. So if I don't write it down, I won't remember it. As you can see, this is all my little bits of scribble here that I write down just to remind me of things I need to remind you of. So we've also got a total lunar eclipse that's going to be coming up in March, on the 14th of March, on my birthday. So this is going to aspect my sun. So again, this is going to be another big, massive one for me. And that's going to be at 23 degrees of Virgo. So it's going to oppose my natal sun at 23 degrees. So that will be interesting to see how that pans out for me. And then we have we have the equinox coming up, which will be the 20th of March. So just letting you know ahead of time, when we do March's one, we'll go a little bit more in depth into that. So we've got quite a lot of things going on where it's about setting the tone for rebirthing new projects, rebirthing new things that we want to see grow. It's a good time for seeding, you know, and laying down what we're wanting to create in the world and within our lives. And we're going to see that on the world stage, where, you know, all these seeds are being planted. You can see that this is what's going on now with Trump. There's all these, you know, new seeds he's trying to sow in different countries, and you know there's going to be a dissolution of borders as well, because we've also got the Neptune and Saturn conjunction that will be occurring shortly, and then they'll be moving into 0 degrees of Aries, which will be the beginning of the age of Aquarius, which will be the initial, you know, that will be the actual beginning of it. So there's lots going on astrologically in the build up and the run up to that we're all going to be experiencing collectively. So let's pull a few cards and see. What I'd like to do is just pull a few cards to see what's happening in certain areas. Let's just thrown under the sofa, sorry. What's happening in certain areas at the moment. So what's gonna, perhaps we'll ask a question like, what's happening with Trump, you know, and Elon Musk? Is this good or bad? Is this good for us or bad for us? You know, because I don't really like doing political questions in that respect, but at the end of the day, this is going to really be affecting us all collectively, isn't it? You know, so let's see what we've pulled here for that. So we've pulled the Prince of Fire: enthusiastic, optimistic, creative, impatient, news of exciting opportunities, allowing your creativity to soar, do things that fuel your passions, finish what you start. So this, I think, this is showing us perhaps the energy that Trump has already started to kind of push into the forefront, is that he's really starting to, you know, be action driven, isn't he? He's come straight in. And again, I'm not a pro Trump or a not Trump person. I'm just saying what I see and what, you know, I feel here in regard to the astrology and the psychic expression of that. So you can see here there's that card here, which would be the Page of Wands. So it's showing you this like impatient but creative and optimistic and enthusiastic energy here that Trump is bringing into his reign, and that, you know, he's beginning a journey of triumph and beginning a journey of trying to do things that you know, are exciting new opportunities. Whether or not they pan out to be good for us or not is another matter, isn't it? Because I'm, you know, I don't really follow the news too much, to be honest with you. I kind of try and stay out of watching news if I can, unless it really does show up on my newsfeed. If I've scrolled through something and it comes up, then obviously, you know, I'm not going to say I never see it, because I do, but I'm aware of things that are going on. But like I say, at the minute, it will just depend whether or not what's going on in the world out there is going to be beneficial to us or negative to us. We've also got here: protect what you have created and be prepared never to give up. Ask for the angels for help. Environmental activism and animal rights. So this is showing me, maybe I don't like to be the bringer of doom and gloom, because I like to be quite a positive person, but this card is showing me that we may actually go into some kind of a battle, or we may be, you know, again, Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius is like revolution energy, isn't it? So maybe there'll be some kind of civil revolution or some kind of war within the local communities in the USA, or maybe we'll experience some kind of, you know, revolution throughout the world in different variations. That could definitely be a possibility here, because that's the energy here that's coming forward with the energy of Trump. And again, this card here, like the good that you do to others comes back to you. So this card here, which is the 6 of air, is that right? Yeah, 6 of earth, sorry. This is showing us, you know, borrowing wisely, an unexpected inflow of abundance, paying off debt, sharing your wealth with others less fortunate. Well, actually, that could be well true of some of what Trump's trying to do at the moment, potentially, maybe. I know obviously there'd be different views from different people, but this is I'm just showing you what the cards are saying, you know, not what's actually happening. This is saying that maybe his intentions are to kind of level out the debt, help people out, and get people, you know, paying off debt and giving more abundance back to the communities. So it's showing, you know, there that those cards are where his energy is. But again, here we've pulled the Dreamer card, which, you know, maybe he's setting his sights a bit higher for what he's, you know, going to be able to achieve. But it's saying a new start, trust yourself, push your fears aside and take a leap of faith. So, you know, this is very, and again, that's very Christ consciousness, isn't it? So maybe there's an element of Trump that's really trying to, you know, pull in here an energy of, you know, being very strong, taking a leadership role, trying to give back to people, trying to give back, clear the debts and make the world a better place. You know, this is what the cards are showing me. This is not what my thought process is. I mean, the news would probably show you a different version of that, but I would say that this, for his energy, is pretty positive, to be honest with you. It's showing us that he's actually wanting to achieve a dream, that he wants a euphoria or a kind of utopia for the world, and that he's wanting this, you know, to be a place of abundance, and where we're, you know, sharing abundance with each other and rooting out you know, unhealthy things and unjust things. And I'd certainly say that the news and the trajectory of what's being uprooted right now, you know, things that are being uncovered, is, you know, is certainly going that way and showing us that, isn't it? It's definitely showing us that, you know, there's been a lot of corruption that's gone on, and, you know, Trump and some of his, you know, his army, if you like, are uncovering those things. And then we have the Emperor here, which is the, you know, the highest spiritual card in the deck, which is really showing me actually that logic and organisation will increase, success, take charge of the situation, accept a leadership role, structure and discipline. So these are really positive cards actually. So the cards are showing me that he's actually doing a good job. You know, we'll see, won't we? I mean, you know, I don't really have a viewpoint on it, to be honest with you. Again, it's not really where I'm living. I mean, my country's got enough problems going on of its own, to be fair. But again, whatever happens in America tends to filter down the track, doesn't it? So we're all going to get affected by it. But we certainly need a change of government in our country, and I think that's definitely what's going to happen for the UK. So let's just pull a couple of cards for the UK. What's going to happen with our government and the UK at the moment? What's happening here? Because we're, at the moment, you know, my view of my own country is that we're literally fucked, shall we say, in the nicest possible way. Everything is just up in the air, and, you know, we're all living day to day. No one's got any money. No one's really enjoying life, are they? Let's be honest. The government's corrupt and full of, you know, people that are doing things they shouldn't be doing. Let's have a look, see what... So for the first card we pulled is the Six of Air. Oh, the cards don't want to come out, do they? Maybe that's quite apt, isn't it? They're all sort of closing rank and don't want to jump out and stand for anything. So, so there we have the so we have the sixth of air that we pulled out, which is the end of challenging times. Well, that would be really good if that is the case. Things are looking up. We welcome relief. Finding your way in a peaceful place. The end of depression or an illness and travel or relocation. Wow, okay, that's interesting. So maybe our borders are going to change as well. Maybe there's going to be something happening with our borders. That could definitely be the case with this card. But also that we're moving away from poverty and moving away from... you know, deprivation into a place of solace. And this maybe could indicate something going on with our borders, you know, with the Neptune at the 29 degrees as well, and about to move and conjunct with Saturn into Aries. This could mean that we might have some issues going on with our borders very shortly. And there could also be an element of some flooding within the UK coming about as well. That may well be a possibility too. We've also pulled the Awakening. That's an apt card, isn't it? Seems like the UK are a little bit behind the awakening process, if you ask me. We seem a little bit behind with things with regard to our government and our, what's happening in the world, and the corruption that goes on here seems to be. I think we're the root of a lot of it, shall we say? So again, I think that's going to be the case here for us, is that we're going to be more, everybody's going to start waking up a little bit more. And I'm wondering whether we may have a bit of a revolt over here in the UK, whether there may be that energy happening here for us, that we sort of have a bit of a revolution over in the UK. Where people are just revolting against their governments and saying no. This is a temporary pause of reflection and insight and awakening, where you see things in a whole new light. Embrace your own uniqueness and charitable actions. So yeah, I mean, I'll do some clarifies on these ones. Actually, I know I've breezed over the Trump one a little bit, because again, it's not. I'm mainly looking at the UK for me at the moment, but obviously there's a lot going on over there as well. And then we've got the Lovers card. So this one here, and I mean, if you're interested in knowing more, I can do more in-depth ones on these, but this is embrace true love and deep intimate friendships, make choices from the heart, vibrant health or recovery from an illness. Okay, so that might be good. So maybe there's going to be some stuff coming up to do with big pharma over in the UK as well, and health stuff. I mean, we are moving into like I said, we moved into the health axis. I'm wondering whether we may see a re-ignition point of what happened in 2020. Maybe that may be what brings the awakening to the fore, that we start to see something from a completely different mindset. Let's just have a little look and let's see if we can clarify any of those. Let's have a look. These are my lovely little astrology cards that are the Radiant Sun deck. I love these because they've got all like little bits of stuff on them to do with astrology, which is what I love. I think my fire's gone out. It's annoying, isn't it? Let's have a little clarify on the UK here. Let's see what's happening here with the UK. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a revolt over here going on. Yes, there we go. So we have we've pulled this card here, which is charity. So I think we're going to start looking at how we're spending our money as well, and what we're giving to charities, and whether these may be corrupt, maybe these organisations are needing a review, an overhaul. The fourth house is homeland, so this is this is about the home. So yes, I think we're going to see some restructuring of our homeland going on as well over the not necessarily it will happen in February, but maybe it will start to, the seeds will be sown in February of what's to come, and that's for sure going to be in the pipeline by the looks of it, according to these cards. Here we go. Okay, so we've pulled the 8, and then we've got the Revenge here. So I'm wondering whether there might be some energy that starts to. And it's Mars energy here, Mars and Scorpio energy. So again, this is showing us that there's going to be maybe some kind of a turbulent and volatile situation that occurs here in the UK, maybe over the next few months. But particularly, we might see some change in that in February, and maybe we may see that around the full moon. That may be the case. Where we see some changes. Eighth house is birth, deaths, transformations. It's also instinct, sexuality, regeneration, other people's money, taxes. Maybe we'll see something going on. Again, the fact that it's a full moon, we might see some kind of end to taxes. I know that's happened over in the Americas, hasn't it? Trump's definitely done something to do with the taxes. I'm not, again, 100% sure on all of my facts, so please don't quote me on those, but I'm just mindful that I've heard that somewhere in the pipeline that he's abolished some kind of taxes, and I wonder whether this may start to sow seeds in the UK for a similar thing. I've got my own views on tax, really, but that is definitely something that's coming up here. When you look at the cards as a storyline, we've got the Awakening, the Lovers, the Union coming forward with the Heart, the 6th of Air, which is about challenging times coming to an end, and then we've got these, the revolutionary cards of the fourth house, which is the home, charity, coming back to the home, and then we've got the 8th house, Revenge. So the 8th house, showing inheritance and maybe fraud of some description maybe coming up here. So let's see where that goes for the month of February. But yeah, we'll see what that holds, and hopefully we get some things coming. I do feel we may experience some flooding around. I've got a feeling that we might get more affected in the Midlands area, maybe Birmingham. I did have a really weird dream the other week that I was driving down the motorway and I was going to Birmingham for some reason. I don't know why I'd be going there, but in my dream I was going to Birmingham, and the whole road was connected to the sea, and it was like the road had completely cut off and I was driving into the ocean basically. So it was like part of the UK had completely flooded. So I don't know whether that's a premonition dream or whether it's just a coincidence, but we'll see how that unfolds itself. I do feel we will see more over here to do with air travel as well, and I do feel that we are heading for a complete grounding of aviation at some point, where it gets completely re-evaluated and restructured, and we see a new form of aircraft travel, and aviation travel, a completely new form of it will be done and overhauled completely. I do feel that's coming, and again, that's, you know, the Uranus energy here that squares the Pluto in Aquarius, so it's a complete, you know, transformation of aviation, and I feel that we will definitely see that this year, and maybe see the seeds starting to fall in February of how that's going to manifest itself. I do feel that we'll probably see more UFO sightings and things like that again. I do feel that we will begin to start to see our own history and our kind of origins and the history of the human being start to come into the fore and the public spotlight, about perhaps the dating systems of that and of our existence being altered, or history being altered in some way, or it's been manufactured in some way. And I feel that we might start seeing secrets being unfolded with regard to that, and the truths coming to light about how things have been withheld. I can also see a massive overhaul in the like I said, the national health system. I feel over here, and I feel the same will happen over in other countries, that the health systems will start to get an overhaul, and I think we'll begin to see the seeds being sown through the spring equinox for that also. And I feel like natural medicine will start to take a much bigger role forward. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking pharmaceutical medication. In fact, you know, at times it is life-saving, you know, and sometimes you do need to take antibiotics. But as I've said numerous times on my other platforms that I'm on, you know, I'm studying Ayurveda at the moment, and there's a lot we can do for ourselves herbally and naturally to help ourselves, that we don't need to go to the doctors all the time. Like my son's, obviously, he's had about 4 bouts of antibiotics while he was in Thailand, and it's really stripped back his natural microbiome. And I think we're definitely going to see a lot of information and you know, light being shed on the microbiome, and how it is really the brain of the body, and how important it is to keep that in tip-top working condition. And from, like I say, from my son's perspective, we're really working hard on repairing his microbiome at the moment, and he's come down with another virus, bless him, a strep throat virus, because his immune system's so low, and it's so important that we maintain our immune system, as well as put a lot of focus into our heart. We're seeing so much going on at the moment with heart-related issues in the collective, and I know just for myself, and you know, I've got a heart condition. I've got a condition called microvascular ischemia, and tachycardia syndrome, which affects me greatly at times, where my heart beats at like 240 beats a minute. It's quite scary because you feel like you're having a heart attack. And my son's also being investigated at the moment for some heart related stuff similar to me, but I think what we're also seeing is how we're being affected by the frequency of Earth's upgrade, and that affects our electrical frequency, which is ruled by our heart. The heart is a toroidal field, an electromagnetic field that controls the whole of our body. And we are electric beings, which is why we need sodium and salt in our blood, because we are conductive beings. And our heart is what is the main pivotal point in our body. Our heart is actually more in tune with us and the collective than our brain is. We think it's our brain, but it's not really our brain that does all the work. The brain is just, you know, it's like the computer system really, isn't it? But the heart is what's running the show. And you know, I read an interesting article the other day that said, if you was born deaf, and how would you know, what language would you think in? you know. And it's true, isn't it? You wouldn't think in any language, because you would never have heard a language. You'd be thinking from the language of the heart. You'd be feeling your way through life, not thinking. And I think what we've been dragged into this world into thinking, and we've been programmed as a way, you know, in a lot of ways, is to think that our brain is more important than our heart, when actually it's the opposite. Our heart is more important than our brain. Our heart is what we feel our way through the world with. You know, like dogs sniff each other's bums and can read everything about what they had for dinner the day before, and, you know, and how they're feeling in their mood. And I think we've lost our way of being sentient beings, haven't we? We've lost our way of feeling through life with each other. You know, we don't feel into how things are. We're thinking all the time, and that's what we've been misled to thinking, is that everything. And that's why we have so many things going on that are stimulating to the brain all the time, because it's distracting us away from feeling into our heart and feeling into our environment. And I think that's what we need to be really mindful of, is that we need to get back to that state of being. We need the mind and brain coherence going on. The brain needs to be involved, of course it does, because it's in control of our autonomic nervous system and things like that. But actually our heart is mainly the one that runs the show, because, you know, it is what's needed most and foremost to get through our world and get through our environment and our life. And I know myself, where I've been so unwell with my heart over the last couple of years, it's really had an impact on my body and, you know, my emotions. And you know, there's a really amazing herb actually that's fantastic for the heart, which is called hawthorn berry. And hawthorn tree, very magical fae tree. Again, it's very linked to the fae realms, and there's a lot of mythology around it, that if you was to cut a hawthorn tree down, you'd be cursed for eternity. But, you know, again, this is just mythology, but and folklore. But again, the tree is full of spikes and thorns, but the berries and flowers are extremely, you know, potent and full of flavonoids, and they're a unique adaptogen. I will actually do an actual article for the YouTube on hawthorn berry, because, you know, it's an amazing herb to drink as a tea or a tincture. You can also make ketchup out of it and things like that. So, you know, really, really good herb to have in your everyday life, to help with the emotional aspects of heart-related things, but also spiritually related. It lifts your heart energy, helps you to feel more with your heart, but also it helps. It's a tonic for the heart. It helps to, you know, oil the machine of the heart and tonify all the vessels, and for the cardiovascular system, it's phenomenal. But like I say, I'll do a proper article on that. But where I'm going with it is, you know, we're needing to lead with our heart. We're needing to look after our hearts. And, you know, what we're seeing here is that our government perhaps is going to start to maybe lead a little bit more with the heart, with a change of government. You know, and again, I think we're moving away from government in general. I don't feel that we're needing to be governed by anybody, because the astrology is showing us that we're actually moving into a point of sovereignty, and we're moving into a point of not necessarily needing rulership and dictatorship. You know, there's some things that need to be, you know, need to have some kind of rule and guidance and boundary on, but actually we are free beings, and we're not really being allowed to live in that way. We're having our actual instincts and drives suppressed, to the point of where we're not really functioning to our full capacity, and also being dumbed down by all of the things that we're absorbing. And I think these are all the truths that are being uncovered, which is the Pluto and Aquarius energy. You know, Pluto is doing its bit at the moment to really awaken and lift the secrets and deceit up. You know, just dredging the you know, the lake, if you like, and everything's going to come to light. And I think 2025 is going to be a huge year, and we're heading into that lineup of astrological stelliums, which I think it's going to be 7 planets in total, all in the end of Pisces. So you fellow Pisceans or mutable signs, you're really going to be feeling that. So, you know, mutable signs being Pisces, Gemini. God, my brain's gone dead. Pisces, Gemini. Oh, and Sagittarius. Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius are the mutable signs. So you're going to be feeling this as well, massively. And also, you know, anyone that has any of those signs, those signs predominantly in their birth chart, they're going to feel this line up. Well, we all will feel it, but obviously for Pisceans specifically, this will be big. So just be really kind to yourself towards the end of the month of March, definitely. And I think February is the build up to this, is the build up. So we're really feeling that right now. I'm going to be doing in my next video, we'll be doing a 3-card poll, so picking 1, 2 and 3, which will be a little bit more of a personalized reading for those of you that pick 1, 2 or 3. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. Sorry I'm trying to cram so much into it. I hope it's made sense. I hope it's made some kind of sense to you all, because sometimes you just feel like you're going off on a tangent, and I have to kind of do these videos when I actually feel energized enough to do them, because the last few weeks I've just been absolutely exhausted, and I've had no energy to do anything. So we've talked a little bit about Trump, we've talked a little bit about the UK. Let's just quickly do one on Elon Musk. There's been a lot of talk about him. Is he good or bad? What are his intentions? What are his intentions globally? I mean, we can all have our own personal perspectives on it, can't we, what we think, but what really is the case. So that's with him. And what are his intentions? What are Elon Musk's intentions? There we go. Right, okay, so we have, this is a very apt card for him, isn't it? Wow. So we've got the 8 of Earth, so it's Gabriel energy. Learning all you can about the subject or a career, going back into school, taking a seminar and finding a mentor, attention to detail, skilled work that you love. So this is about, Pentacles is about finance. So again, Elon Musk is a very very wealthy man. He's very adept in the financial environment, isn't he? And at the moment he's looking into and dissecting into the accounts of America, isn't he, and finding things and deception and all of that kind of stuff. So I think this is showing here that this is his skill set. He clearly is very good with finances, and he's clearly very good at learning about money, and becoming his attention to detail is obviously very, very strong here, which is clearly what's led him to be so successful in his life. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's got a really unusual Uranus placement in his chart as well, which shows genius energy. And also here we've got the Chariot, which is, rewards that come from hard work, successful balancing many priorities at once, determination and willpower, public recognition. So that is really relevant to who Elon Musk is, isn't it? But also because we're asking the question of, is he good or bad? Is he going to be beneficial or not? Or not? I say good or bad. It's not really a great way of describing him as a person. It's whether he's going to, his energy is going to be beneficial or detrimental. And it's showing here that 8 is obviously the transformative energy, isn't it? Birth, death, taxes, which is unbelievable, isn't it? Because at the moment he's going through the taxes of the USA. So the 8th house is what that rules, and this is the number 8 of money. So that's really relevant at the moment. And Archangel Gabriel here is the energy residing over that. So it's showing us that is what his energy is about, trying to sort out perhaps the debt of the world. And the Chariot is, that success, that drive, that ambition of, wanting to be potent, wanting to be a person of notoriety, a person of, importance. The Chariot card also is a very balancing card. If you see it in the tarot deck, you'll see that it's, it's kind of a karmic card as well. So it's very much about, he's karmically leading us in some way, shape or form, or charging us forward some way, shape or form. And again, we've got the one of fire here, which would be the Ace of Wands. So an amazing opportunity. Be bold, courageous and optimistic. Now is the time to take action. Do what you're passionate about. So this is showing us that he's actually doing a good job of trying to, be a leader and be passionate and shed light on industries, workforces that are working perhaps in a detrimental way. But what does this mean? Let's have another little go at this. Like, what are you actually trying to show us here, cards, with Elon Musk? What? So far, it's looking like he is going to be quite beneficial to us. But he has got good intention potentially. But again, I never completely trust these people in leadership and power, because I don't know, it's just maybe it's just me. I'm maybe not good with authority. I'm a bit of a rebel, you know. First house in Aquarius. I'm a bit of a rebel when it comes to, you know, being. I don't like to be led. Okay, so 5th house here, it's saying drama. So it's saying that perhaps there may be some drama connected to him and his energy. This is Leo energy, so maybe around the full moon we might see some drama unfolding with regard to how he's communicating with us, and how he's communicating. Maybe his communication will be in some kind of conversations of whether or not people want him involved, you know, of what his integrity and intentions are. Oh, okay, 11th house, so collectively. And this is the 11th house associated with Aquarius and the moon, independence. So this is showing us that, you know, he is about our independence, the collective independence of us as a nation. But he's gonna cause some waves and some problems. So it's like 4th house and quarrels. So, you know, he's I feel that maybe his energy is there as a pivotal point to kind of expose the corruption and be almost like the scapegoat, if you like, that everybody is projecting upon. But actually these problems are not just him that's doing these things. He's obviously shedding light on things that have been going on, and clearly this is his karmic debt perhaps to be doing this. And obviously he's very involved with a lot of the AI technologies that are all again connected to Pluto in Aquarius, but also will be really relevant when Uranus moves into Gemini, because this will be about a complete and utter transformation. When Uranus moves into Gemini in July, we will see a massive change in our consciousness shift. So at the moment, the energy Gemini rules is ruled by Mercury, but it rules our consciousness at this moment in time, 3D consciousness. But Uranus is higher mind, and so Uranus is, you know, the unconscious, the collective unconscious. So as we move into that more pronounced energy, and the move of Uranus moving into Gemini, which again is AI as well, I think we'll see, you know, the starting of more of that kind of stuff to do with Elon Musk, with his plans for us as well. And again, I think we need to take it as we find it. I think, you know, we don't all need to dive into immediately getting the newest technologies and having things implanted into our bodies. I think we need to use our discernment. I mean, if 2020 is anything to go by, I think we all need to use our own discernment of what we're putting into our physical body, and what, you know, especially when it comes to changing our own psychological and spiritual blueprint. You know, anything that's going to be altering our DNA, or anything that's going to be altering our consciousness, which is vital to who we are as human beings. We need to use a discernment with that. You know, we can't just be going into, oh yeah, that's nice and easy, let's chuck that in there, you know, that's nice and easy. No, like this, your human body is sacred, and you need to really be thinking about that long term, you know, how that's going to be potentially affecting not just you, but the generations moving forward. And again, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, what he's involved with, because he's obviously looking in some way, shape or form of, because wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if we did have technology taking over some of the mundane jobs, and money didn't become such a massive thing, that we could then actually enjoy being more leisurely and living lives in a more leisurely way, where we're able to tap into what the magnificence is of being a human being, and tap into this collective consciousness that we're only using about 1% of. You know, if we could have more time to focus on that, rather than being constantly distracted to earn a living and get out there and constantly be going 9 to 5, you know, like Dolly Parton says, 9 to 5 constantly with our foot on the accelerator. If we didn't have to do that, and we had robots maybe doing some of those jobs for us, or technology overseeing some of these things for us, and we had time to spend in our own shell and in our own consciousness, and sitting within and residing within ourselves, we may find that we elevate as a species. And I think we're needing to really be mindful of this. Let's be honest, if you really think back to how we're existing at the moment, the human race has almost become like a cancer, in that, you know, if this was being shown in the human body, and that we had rogue cells that were constantly multiplying in their droves, and they were causing detriment to the body, we'd be calling them a cancer. I think we've forgotten our place in Earth, is that we're not a species that's more important than anybody else. But yes, we may have more intelligence in some way, shape or form, but we're no more important than the mineral kingdom, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom. We're all here as part of Earth's microbiome, and the human beings are still sentient beings. We're all here as part of Earth's microbiome, and human beings have become that rogue cell, if you like, in coherence to the Earth, in coherence to the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, and the animal kingdom, and we're overproducing, and we've almost become like a cancer to Earth. And we need to be really mindful that we need to see what's occurring with that, and that perhaps we need to start seeing what our place is in the world, and treating everything with gratitude and respect, and being very respectful. I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on how we are and how we interact with our natural world, and how we interact with the waters of the world, and how important the waters of our body are. And again, that's that Neptune energy. But most importantly, all our waters have come from galactic realms, and we are made of water. And Pam Gregory, who I quote so many times on my channels because I absolutely adore her, and she's such a font of wisdom. I'd highly advise anyone to go over to her channel because she's so interesting to listen to. She talks about us all being made of stardust, and how there's traces of elements and minerals in the water, and carbon in the water that date back to centuries and centuries within galactic energy. And I truly believe that if we can get ourselves into the position of knowing our place in the microbiome of Earth, we could evolve to such a degree consciously, rather than physically evolving, consciously evolving. We're spending so much of our time trying to beat all the other species and take over, that we're actually losing our connection with how we're interacting with every other connected being in our environment. We should be able to have these conscious conversations with our crystals and our plants and our animal kingdom. And I think we're really going to see if anything, again, Pam Gregory mentioned about the telepathy tapes, and I've started to watch a few of them. If any of you haven't watched this, I'd highly recommend you do. And it's showing you how autistic children that are non-verbal have these immense capacities for being able to communicate telepathically. And I think our bodies and our tissues and our cells within our physical body, they all communicate. There's a wonderful woman called Candice Owens, is it? Candice, oh no, I've got a book here, what's it called? Candice Pert, sorry, The Molecules of Emotions. It's a book that talks about, she's a scientist, and she talks about how she found the connection of how each tissue, cell and organ body has a consciousness of its own that communicates with other cells within the body. And we are, as human beings, capable of doing exactly the same thing as the macrocosm and the microcosm, as within, so without. We have the exact same capacity to be able to communicate in telepathic ways with other human beings, other galactic beings, other sentient beings, plant beings, mineral beings, you name it, we can communicate with it. We're just so cut off from it because we've been living in our head and not in our heart. And if you think about these people on these telepathy tape recordings, I think they're on YouTube, some of these people have got like locked in syndromes, and they're unable to communicate in any other way than being able to perhaps move their hands or fingers, and they're able to communicate on a computer what they're saying and what other people are saying, and do like almost psychic skills, extrasensory perceptions, use their clairs, if you like. It's phenomenal. And it just goes to show us that we're at such limited capacity within our own brain, because we shut ourselves off to only being in the thinking brain and not in the feeling. We're gonna Pluto in Aquarius is going to be an amazing time for us with innovations to do with science and technology and pharmaceuticals and all this, that, and the other. But it's also, if we use it if we use it to its advantage, it's going to be a fantastic time for us to also work within our own bodies in the same way, to revolutionize what we put into our bodies, to revolutionize how we think and how we communicate, how human beings communicate, how the technology of the human is in coherence and communication with the world. I think that, a fascinating subject that, deserves much more talk on about it. Too much for just this one little podcast that I'm doing now. I'm just going off on a tangent, so just I do that all the time. But so when we're going back to Elon Musk, I think what we're seeing here is that, yes, he will be of service to us, but will also be causing a lot of controversy, and it's meant to be that way. He's here to help us dig into our ancestry roots and see where we're going wrong and how we can evolve. But again, hopefully he hasn't got lost on his journey to greatness, that he's leading us. Could he be a shepherd leading us to the end of the cliff? This is the thing you need to be really mindful of. Again, it just comes back to being really reflective, doesn't it? The cards are saying that at the moment he is being a leader and a shaker, but I think we just need to always be using our discernment with, I've just dropped a card there, I'll have to find that after. We need to always be using our discernment and being reflective, not just of our own actions and place in the world, but also how we interact with, and how others are interacting. Again, we've pulled the awakening card. So this is showing me that he is pivotal in the awakening of the species. He is, because, we're pulling this card here again. So, and this is the same for Trump. We pulled this card in Trump's deck as well, So they are a huge part of the awakening, like it or not. Whether we like what they stand for, they are a huge part in the awakening process, And we've got the Hanged Man energy here as well. So it's like a temporary pause. So we're needing to just pause, hold back, hold fire on what we really think yet, and give them a chance to see what they're trying to achieve, before we're trying to cull them off before they've even begun, So I think we're needing to definitely do that. So we've also got here the 10 of fire. So working too hard for too many hours, the need for balance in life, let others help you, health problems due to stress. So maybe that Elon Musk is going to be really focusing on helping some of us to have a little bit more downtime, like I just said, so that we're not spending our whole life to live and work. Wouldn't that be lovely? God, wouldn't it be lovely? So yeah, I think the jury's out on that, but according to the cards at the moment, he's part of the awakening. He's part of the awakening, as is Trump, and whatever I think politically is irrelevant, just with what the cards are saying here. This is what he's showing us. This is what the cards are showing us, and that's where we're going. I also feel that we will see some shifts in crypto, and some shifts in the economy and in our financial systems from now up until April being a really pivotal point of change. So I feel like we're going to really see that. I've said this in a few of my other videos as well. I do feel we will see some more issues with regard to freak weather occurring, as well, as we're, Taurus is really unstable. Uranus in Taurus is really unstable at the moment. We're going to see a lot of that as it's moving out of Taurus and into Gemini. So I think 2025 is going to be a big year for all of those things. February specifically is going to be more about us being guided into March's stellium of planets and alignments and the equinox, and springtime, so the sowing of new seeds. So February is a pivotal month in all of that. Please take time out for yourself. If you're feeling tired, honor that space. Give yourself time to rest and recuperate. Really take your time to replenish your equilibrium, in stillness. Ground yourself, meditate, Lots of baths, lovely hot baths in Epsom salts and rosemary to help detox. It's great for detoxing radiation. Rosemary is a fantastic herb for that. So I would spend lots of time doing that and making sure you're flooding your body with vitamin D, especially in the UK. We're so depleted in vitamin D over here. There's a couple of wonderful books that I'll recommend to you next time I'm on about vitamin D levels and how we literally are having the minimum amount here and we need much more. Under supervision obviously, but we need to be putting much more vitamin D in our bodies, and obviously filling ourselves with antioxidants and good fruits and vegetables. So yeah, look after yourselves, replenish your bodies, spend time grounding and in stillness, rest and recuperate. It's going to get busy. It's going to get pretty manic over the next few months. So this will seem like a drop in the ocean in comparison to the ripples and waves that are going to be coming from the end of March onwards up until October. It's going to get pretty full on. So really now is the time for, you know, stocking up on things you might need, making sure that you're feeding yourself healthily and making sure that you're well mentally. And nervous systems are going to be very, you know, jazzed up over the next few months. So it's going to be really important to spend time sitting in your own stillness and trying to find an anchor within your own self, you know, or an anchor within your life somewhere, someone that keeps you calm, a hug from a person that you love, or a conversation with somebody that puts you into balance. Needing to find those safe spaces to help keep you grounded and keep you in a good headspace. So I hope that helps for the month of February. Again, I'll be doing the 3-card pull in my next video. So I wish you a wonderful full moon. We're having our full moon in Leo, and then we'll be moving into a total lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 14th of March. I think that is around about that 13th, 14th of March. So lots going on, and thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the Realms of Fae. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. Please share. I'm just trying to build my platform. I'm a beginner in all of this, so you'll have to just, you know, go with my mistakes or faux pas until I get a bit better at it. But it'd be lovely to have more of you on board. Please feel free to make any comments in the footnotes at the bottom if there's anything you'd like me to, you know, bring into the sessions or bring into any more of the videos that I give you. Anything you'd like to see, please do. This is your community as well as it is mine. It's my pleasure to be here with you today, and I look forward to chatting with you for March's updates as well. Take care. Bye-bye. So I just wanted to elaborate a little bit more on the new moon that we're going to be having in Pisces on the 28th of February. So obviously we've got the eclipse coming up around the 13th, 14th of March. But before that, we've obviously got the new moon in Pisces, 9 degrees of Pisces. And this is going to be kind of coming into that mindset of joining into this stellium of energy that we've got in Pisces at around that time. So it's really going to be kind of giving us seeds for thought and things to think about. Excuse my dog, she's having a dream. We really have got to, you know, seriously consider what we're going to be planting the seeds for, which is what we've spoke about throughout the video. And kind of needing to make sure that we're being really mindful of our daily routines, our spiritual routines, the structure of our own spirituality, that we're, you know, making sure that we're, you know, being of service to ourselves and service to others. We're needing to really be mindful of the fact that, you know, this new moon could be asking us to look at our perhaps addictive natures, or our emotional well-being, our psychic predispositions, and the, you know, the ability of being able to use our clairs in a little bit more of a productive way. So on the positive aspect of this new moon, we could be looking at planting seeds for the future to enhance our spirituality and enhance our connection to the divine. Like I said to you before, when we was looking at the microbiome stuff and the health axis, you know, and looking at those seeds that we're sowing for the future. We also need to be looking at the fact that we are making more of a concerted effort to be in touch with our intuitive abilities and being able to connect to the divinity that we have within us all, and our place within communication with other species and other life forms that are here on planet Earth and are in other galaxies and realms. And I think, you know, this is the new moon, the only new moon in Pisces we're going to have this year, and it's going to be where we really are needing to plant those seeds of our, you know, our collective unconsciousness of where we're wanting to see that grow in the next year or the next, you know, foreseeable. And we're needing to be really mindful of that. You know, Pisces is you know, rules the 12th house, so it rules you know, the energy of spirituality, the unconscious, also astrology, surrender, suffering, addiction. So obviously on the negative aspect, you know, as polarity goes within the signs, we may also see, you know, if we're not careful, we could see ourselves having resurgences of visiting addictive behaviours or visiting self-sabotaging behaviours. But we're needing to use, you know, this new moon in its most positive aspect, its most positive essence, which is to improve our spirituality, improve our connection to self, get a dream journal, start writing down our dreams. Like I said, I had a dream the other day, didn't I, about, you know, the flooding. And again, Pisces rules the waters, so we may see, you know, within this new moon and a resurgence in flooding. We've also got the Venus, Neptune and North Node conjunction that we've just experienced at the beginning of February, and that same theme will continue throughout March. You know, as all of these planets line up, you know, in like a traffic jam, if you like, towards the end of March, we're going to see, you know, real emphasis on all things Piscean. And again, it will include all of the above: potential flooding, potential consciousness shifts, potential psychicness, and our intuitive abilities expanding, and that's collectively as well. We could see our unconscious and our kind of mindset being altered. We might see an increase in depression, we might see an increase in mental health issues, because these are all ruled by Pisces and Neptune. We may see a resurgence in toxicity and big pharma and illness and healthcare, and all of these things may be you know, within ourselves and within the collective. We might see a resurgence of all of those things in this new moon. So we just need to be really mindful of the seed that we're planting, and make sure that we're, you know, doing what we need to be doing to enhance our ascendance and our divine essence to its full capacity and potential. Like I said, we're only using such a small percentage of our brain and our connection to the divine and our connection to other sentient beings, that really this is the time now to really put in the groundwork. And that's what this new moon is going to be all about. I feel it's really going to be about, you know, we're going to have some negative connotations to it, obviously, that will show themselves, but we really need to be focusing our energy primarily on our ascension, our ability to expand our consciousness, reach the higher mind, you know, connect to realms, enchanted realms, and, you know, bringing back the energy of the dragon, of the fairy, of the archangels. You know, I feel like this energy of Pisces is what we're going to be really connecting to. We're going to find ourselves having vivid dreams and, you know, meditations that are connecting us to, you know, realms beyond what we ever felt were ever around, or beyond our capabilities of being able to access. And I think that's going to be really, really strong throughout the end part of February, when we get this new moon on the 28th in Pisces, and that will be the introduction to what Pisces is going to be about to premiere, shall we say, for the month of March, ready to move into April, where we're really going to start seeing the action kicking off. So hopefully that makes some sense for you. Obviously we've got the eclipse as well that's going to be coming in March too. So there's so much to you know, to start to begin to collate in our everyday world and everyday life. And you know, we may even start to realize our potential with our own magical abilities within Pisces, and our, you know, our manifestation ability. You know, I'm a Piscean, you know, my Pisces is at 23 degrees, my sun is at 23 degrees of Pisces in my first house, so I emanate Piscean energy throughout my very being, and so it really resonates with me. And again, like I said to you before, I've got this lineup in my first house, literally the whole of my first house. So this will be very interesting to see how it manifests. You can use me as an experiment and see what's going on in my life, because there's a lot going on in my life at the moment, and I'll be sharing this with you along my journey. So yeah, moving on, and hopefully you'll be experiencing this in one or two areas of your chart, depending on where this stellium of planets, this you know, massive lineup of planets, this traffic jam of planets lands in your birth chart. And again, to look at that in more detail, you can head on over to someone like Steve Judd, Pam Gregory, Heather Ensworth, or you can ultimately go on to like Astrodinist, astro.com, Astro King, and try and find a way of looking through your birth chart yourself. Pam Gregory has got some wonderful videos that she has on her website, pamgregory.com, as well, so that you can go and learn how to do some of this stuff for yourself as well. And I highly recommend, they're fantastic videos and very cheap as well. So yeah, hopefully this has been of value to you, and I will see you on the next video.